What's up, everyone, and welcome to Variant the Podcast. Once again, we're back.
Once again, back in the saddle. Another day, another dollar, as they say.
Another dollar.
What's up, Variant Nation?
Look at my little strawberry cap thingy.
Oh, that's cute.
I know, isn't it? So the bugs don't get on my water.
Is that strawberry shortcake? Do you remember that? Do you remember that from your? Is that
no, I remember
before
that.
you, or do you?
No, I remember.
Oh, because they brought it back.
Yeah. Plus, it's like everything from the 80s.
My older sister, was obsessed with strawberry shortcake. That was like her jam.
You're just jealous that now bugs.
I am.
Won't get into my water.
Well, mostly I'm jealous of the strawberry. That's fantastic.
That's a wife purchase, is what that is. That's like, hey, that's a nifty invention. I'll take it.
Yes. Yeah, aren't you glad to have us every week
we're
right here?
We're bringing the real,
we're bringing the heat,
the knowledge, the things you want to hear. Anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
San Diego Comic-Con just wrapped up last weekend.
Yep, and you went. I did not.
Yes, I was there for 2.5 days.
Yeah. And I was green with con envy because you and a couple of people we know were out there living the best life.
Dude, it was
living the nerd life, and I was here working.
It was awesome. It was awesome because it was like an actual true Comic-Con, because Hall H isn't there.
Yeah.
Because Hall H is all celebrity, and as we all know, there's strikes going on galore in Hollywood right now. So, none of the celebrities were there, none of the studios were there. They can't talk about anything because strike. So because of that, all the attention was automatically reverted back to the show floor, which is just mainly comic books. And I was like, yes.
That was the main thing that I wanted to ask you, because there's a couple things we're going to talk about today, by the way. We're going to talk about your experience at San Diego Comic-Con, what the biggest takeaways were, the hottest things
the homeless man fight?
Yes, you got to tell that story, because that is hilarious.
That's crazy.
So what's your biggest takeaways? What were the biggest things there? So on and so on. We want to talk about Secret Invasion.
The finale of Secret Invasion.
The finale of Secret Invasion, and the series as a whole, because we haven't really talked about it much. But we've finished the series along with probably a lot of you. And we're going to get into that. And then there's one other topic that I want to touch on that I'll just probably insert here.
It's a surprise topic? Yeah,
wherever, just because it's going to be a very fun topic to talk about. But so San Diego Comic-Con, it had to have been like really unique, particularly regarding San Diego Comic-Con, because it is known for, that's where Hollywood shows up to Comic-Con.
Yeah, but it felt... It's kind of sad because I don't think it'll ever be like this again unless there's another strike. So as sad as it was to be like, oh, Warner Brothers is not giving a big announcement, right, or Marvel Studios isn't here.
Right.
It was cool to just focus on the comic books because like most people can't get into Hall H anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not going to hear it and experience it like on the show floor. Even people who are there, because it's hard. Even if you're at San Diego Comic-Con, it's hard to get into Hall H.
Yeah. So without question.
Yeah.
The lines that they're like. That's like
you have to sleep overnight to get in if you're not
wild.
like press or you have some sort of like.
And I'm here to tell you, if you've never seen that in person, it is wild to see in person.
It is awesome and wild, but it was cool to have like an off break, and because it's San Diego Comic-Con, it's New York Comic-Con, but a lot of these bigger conventions like the New York ones, obviously San Diego.
It's really just those two, because there's some of the other big ones where some of Hollywood stuff shows up, but it's not dominant.
No, it's like a lot of the TV stuff. New York and specifically San Diego is like Hollywood.
But would you agree, like, even between New York and San Diego, and I think we've talked about this before, but New York is massive, and you get a bunch of TV and movie stuff there as well. But there's just something about San Diego Comic-Con. It just takes over the whole city.
Well, Gaslamp right there, that whole strip.
It takes over the whole city. And it is there's just something about it. It feels so massive and all encompassing.
Well, it's because because there's so many activations and stuff. Like, I would actually say most of my time at San Diego Comic-Con wasn't on the con floor. Like, I'd say 70% of what I was doing and where I was at was outside of the actual convention center. So you don't even need a badge to enjoy most of it.
Yeah.
Because there's all that they have, they had the Hasbro activation, the Jurassic Park activation, the Paramount Transformers activation.
They have panels off con floor at hotels.
Like across the street is like the Omni across the street was wrapped in, I believe, in Invincible and like Skybound stuff. Whatnot had a whole section wrapped out where they're streaming and doing stuff the whole weekend, a whole building. There was just so many, and then this Gaslamp, like all the restaurants, all the menus are like comic book themed, like
it's after so stuff, crazy.
The waitresses and waiters are cosplaying and
they even
stuff
put together like special menus.
No, legitimately.
Just for the con.
We went, one of the nights I went with my buddy, you guys.
I'm talking about the surrounding restaurants.
On Gaslamp, I went to an Italian restaurant with Golden Age Guru, Jeff.
Sure, yeah.
and another buddy, Theo, and we're eating there, and they give us it's a nicer Mexican, or it's not a Mexican, it's Italian restaurant. It's a nicer Italian restaurant. We're like, oh yeah, we want like a nice hearty meal. We've been like running around all day. It's like we're tired, and they give us like Comic-Con menu.
Yeah, right.
And we're like, wait, what? Like, where's the chicken bar?
Look like nerds?
I mean, to be fair, I think I walked in with a bag of like comic books, but that's fine.
I'm sure you
that's fine.
As one does at Comic-Con.
Which that right there too, like walking around, because you Uber back to the hotel and stuff like that, but you're not gonna like Uber like 3 blocks, you know what I mean, or stuff like. So I'm just walking with like a backpack and bag of comic books almost everywhere.
You get your workout,
dude.
Sure.
I think I walked like 5 miles one day.
Well, that's not even that bad.
I mean, that's a lot.
Because you remember when we had the one time, one of the years we were at San Diego Comic-Con before all the madness. We went. We had just, it was one. I think it was Saturday. It was the Saturday, and we had so much lined up. Mm-hmm. So many interviews and panels and this, that, and the other thing. We were running from one thing to the next. So the Hall H stuff. And we were just running from one thing to the next all day. And when we ended the day, we looked at our how far we had walked that day.
Was it more than 5 miles?
And it was like 11 miles that day.
Oh, wow.
And we were both like, well, no wonder our feet feels like we need to take them off and hang them over a line.
Yeah.
Like it was just brutal. Because remember, they wanted us to come to an after party.
Yes.
And we were like, mother of God.
That's the cool thing about San Diego is New York, everything's a little more spread out. Everything's not as close to the actual convention center.
Right.
With San Diego, literally across, because it's literally the train tracks, the convention center, and then everything Gaslamp. So it's Gaslamp, train tracks, convention center. So everything's right there. Yeah. All the activations and all the restaurants. It's like 4 blocks of just.
And when I say everything around it, I mean like all of Gaslamp, all of the major hotels surrounding the area. Yeah. They all become part of Comic-Con, which is what I think makes it, because you don't have that in New York.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's all detached from the Javits Center. That's what makes San Diego
so unique. And then, of course, you have all the Hollywood money comes in.
Not this year.
No. And I actually think that's interesting timing. And I was going to ask you about this. It's interesting timing because this is really the first year back for San Diego Comic-Con, back to a full-blown con. Last year, it was kind of like there was all kinds of rules in place. And, you know, there was kind of, they weren't allowing as many people. And there was a lot of different elements to it. This was the first time where they just went all out, back to normal.
For sure.
And then the strikes hit.
DC, because remember, it was one of the last podcasts from a year or two ago where DC wasn't there and stuff like that. DC was back in full force. They had the new Aquaman costume at their booth. They had the new Blue Beetle costume at their booth. And then Marvel had a booth. And every day they would change out the costumes from the MCU. So one day they had like the TVA Loki costumes right there. The last day they had the Captain Marvel costumes there, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Photon and stuff like that. So it was really cool. They were back in full. Hasbro was there, and they freaking launched their HasLab there, which is basically it's like a Kickstarter for their Ghost. They're doing the Ghost, the Rebel ship.
Oh, right.
Which like if you fund it, you get this massive like Ghost Rebel ship, and they had it there, and you could see like I was like inches from it.
That's
and
amazing.
They had like all Hera, Ezra, and all the stuff. All the figures and toys they're releasing for the year.
I saw you drooling over Ahsoka Tano.
Oh my God. That's another thing at the start. They had Star Wars had a really big presence there. So they had a Star Wars booth, and then Hasbro was connected to that, which they also have the Star Wars license. And then Hallmark was there too, showing off all the Hallmark Star Wars stuff they have for Christmas this year. But at that Lucasfilm booth, they had the lightsabers from Ahsoka as used in the show. Uh-huh. They had her costume. They had Chopper. And then they had the mural, the Rebels mural.
Oh,
right. They're the one they use in the show because we all know in the season finale or the series finale of Rebels, they have the mural in the animated show. And then they recreated it for the live action show, and they brought it to Comic-Con.
That's crazy.
And it was like, and of course, everyone needs a picture with it because it's like the freaking.
Yeah.
It's because it's Filoni art too. Filoni did it.
Great.
Yeah. So like,
it's great.
And they had it there. It's like, I was walking with Tom and Comic Tom 101. I'm sure a lot of people probably follow him on here. If not, follow him. But we're walking somewhere, and I see it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, he's not as big as a Star Wars fan as me. And I'm like, I was like, bro, I gotta stop. This is freaking Ahsoka Tano's suit as used in the show. And then at first I didn't realize the mural was behind it. And I look, I'm over like, it's the mural. And then I just keep noticing things after, like I'm filming freaking Ahsoka's costume. And then I see behind, I'm like, they got her sabers, the ones that she used, and they're scuffed up and stuff, the ones that Rosario Dawson used. And then behind that they have Chopper. I'm like, it keeps going. I'm like, they have everything. So it was really, really fun. But it was like that all around. Nickelodeon had this really cool thing. I didn't take any pictures or video it, but they had this thing called Brick Buster. So they recreated Blockbuster in Lego format.
I saw that.
And it's literally
it looked insane.
It's a Blockbuster store they called Brick Buster, and built of Legos, you could go in and build iconic covers, like VHS covers out of Lego, and then they display it for the day. So you could go in and build, like, they show you how you build like the Jurassic Park, like Lego cover or iconic films, and then they'll display it on the shelves for the day.
That's awesome.
And then it was also, I believe there's like a little store in there too. But Avatar was there. Nickelodeon had a huge booth there. There was anyone nerdy was there. It was like back, Dark Horse, IDW, NECA, Marvel, DC, Top Cow, Boom. Like it was all Nickelodeon. It was just like, yeah. We're back.
We're back. I'm thinking I'm back.
And the exclusives this year, both on the comics and toys end, I don't even know how one gets all of that, even if you have the money, because just the time alone is like insane, because you got to wait in the lines. A lot of stuff is one per day and they sell out. It's just like, because Skybound and Image did this thing with Invincible where every day they had a new exclusive cover.
Oh, wow.
So they had 5 exclusive covers, but every day it changes. So like the Capullo cover for Invincible was only available like on Thursday, and you could only get one, I believe. And the next day they had like, I think like an Otley cover and so on and so forth. But every day they change their exclusive, which makes them very sought after because there was only one day to get that cover. So if you didn't come to the convention till Friday and you wanted Thursday's exclusive, too bad, because they were only selling that on Thursday.
Yo.
So it made the rarity like very.
That's actually like my question. Really, is two things. One, did you feel like the Hollywood presence not being there made the comic side exclusives
absolutely
better?
Yes,
and
for
then
sure.
The other thing is, did you feel any sense of like kind of extra stress and panic and scramble from everybody else to try and make the best of of that void that was created?
Kind of, yeah, because there were some covers, like I wanted the foil TMNT Stranger Things cover.
Okay.
And by the time I got there, it was sold out. So like that's a bummer. But there was like, because there's so many cool stuff, and that's like since there wasn't a lot of Hollywood stuff there, it's like, oh well, comic, I'm gonna do all that stuff. So you couldn't do everything, so you had to pick and choose. But even talking to some of the dealers there, they were saying how much more like their books were moving. Not the high end stuff, not like, the first appearance of Spider-Man and stuff like that. They said
that's
one dealer was like anything from 50 to 200 was flying.
Really?
So any books that went for around like lower key issues that would go for like 50 to $200, they couldn't keep them.
Because people were probably on the floor.
They were on the floor more. So people were like buying like, Invincible keys, Boys keys, even like New Mutant keys, more modern keys that aren't like going to be like $5,000 and up. People will spend a few $100 on a key issue, but not everyone's dropped like $3,000 on a key book. You know what I mean? So it was really interesting, and the dealers were clearly liking it. Alex Ross's booth certainly liked it. I know that his booth was loaded.
He's always got a great booth at every con.
It was 2 floors.
What?
2 floors. They had a loft on the top floor. Because you remember how Marvel that one year?
Yeah.
This year, Alex Ross had that.
Oh my, he's moved up.
And he's not even there. He has his people go.
Yeah.
I think
it's
he
a
was
gallery, essentially.
100%. I think I was, me and Tom were talking to one of the guys there, because Tom is friends with one of his dealers. And he was saying, he was only there one day just to do a signing, and that's it. And then he just like sends his people to sell his stuff.
Living the dream.
Dude.
That guy is so talented.
It's crazy. And even his exclusives, just his normal exclusives, everyone else is like $20, $25 for exclusives. His exclusives are like $50.
Yo. I mean, he's earned it.
Yeah.
He's earned it. His art is so incredibly unique. You can spot an Alex Ross piece anywhere. Yeah. Immediately you know who it is.
So the con itself was awesome. Ton of fun. Had a bunch of fun. But on Saturday night, this is a story I told you that I have to share with the Variant Nation. So I'm with my buddies Tom and Jeff, and so I'm packing up my books. I'm putting them all in my bag and stuff like that. And I hear Jeff at the glass window in the lobby, and I'm gonna go, holy crap, come here, they're fighting. I'm like, what? So I'm like trying to put my books out. I get up, and it's this homeless guy attacking just a normal dude walking the street, like on Gaslamp, right? Because it's like midnight at this time.
Because
yeah, why not?
California.
So I get up just in time. The normal dude who's being attacked by the homeless man picks up a street sign and bodies this homeless man, just like WWE style. WWE. Just whack, like on the back, on the side. Whack, hits him like 2 times. Guy like staggers, falls to his knees a little bit, gets up, is like, come on. Like I can't hear them, but he's making the gestures, right, like come on. And then the other dude, as one would, if you were attacked by someone or anyone, your adrenaline's going. He's like, come on. He's holding the sign. He's like, come on. He's like, he wants it now. He's like, I got a metal sign. Come at. You're shirtless. You got no shoes. Come at me. Like that's
did the cops ever intervene?
No,
nothing.
No,
and this is like a major event.
And then Jeff, the Golden Age Guru, I guess to be fair, he had a drink or 2 in him, but like he's like, dude, I'm gonna go out there. I'm like, what do you know? I'm not. He's like, I don't know, man. This stuff gets me riled. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like he's clearly.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
What are you, gladiator?
but it's not even like either of them were helpless in the sense. It's like the homeless man was a little staggered because he just got hit, but he wasn't. At least I don't think he was bleeding. I was like across the street.
Yeah.
And the other guy was clearly, he was like, no. Come at me, I'm gonna put this to your head like freaking Undertaker, Mankind style. Like, so
then Jeff runs out in the street, tears his shirt off.
Dude, I was like,
start saying, "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius."
So the guy, like the homeless dude, eventually walks away after they exchange. I wish I could hear what they said, but we're like inside. It was like between glass. I wish.
I love that you guys are just behind glass with popcorn, just taking this in. We've got a clip that probably looks something like what it's on. You can see it on screen right now.
And he eventually, they part their separate ways. But the dude who was attacked by the homeless man originally just kept the sign. He just turns the corner and he's holding it. So I'm imagining, I'm like, oh, so this is now like your weapon, and whether you're going home or your hotel,
man dragging his club behind him.
He was jacked. He was like, at that point, he wanted it.
Yeah, because now you don't know, when the next person's gonna come around.
Dude, it was one of the craziest ways to end the night, and I'm like, well, I guess that just confirmed I'm Ubering back.
Was that the end of your con? Was that
was Saturday night, the last big night? I was there till I left Sunday afternoon, but yeah, that was like the last big night.
That's hilarious.
So that's
a nice little exclamation point.
I was like, what
way to close
that
out.
I've never seen anyone get hit WWE style in real life.
At least it wasn't a chair.
It was pretty close. A metal street sign. You know those hazard signs they put with the reflectors? I'm like, that had to hurt.
Yeah,
that had to hurt.
But I mean, if it is what you're describing, I don't think that guy was feeling much pain at the time.
Yeah, he was clearly on something.
He might not have been fully.
Yeah. I mean, because he's got like 2 good whacks. He fell to his knees and got back up. He was staggered.
Started breakdancing.
He was staggered, but like
he was doing.
I was just like in my head, I'm like, how is this gonna go? Like, because those are the instances like that could go seriously wrong. Like if he hits him wrong and he falls wrong,
you can kill somebody.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, this is
think
crazy.
About it.
Yeah, this is
people
like
out there. I get it. You don't want me. You got to do what you got to do to defend yourself, but. Think about it. Yeah. You don't want to go to jail for manslaughter either.
Right, because at that point he wasn't in danger any longer. Yeah. So I'm like, you got that, walk away.
I always thought that was funny because even growing up, I had some real rowdy friends who loved to fight. And I was not that way. You defend yourself if you need to, but I did not like to fight.
Right.
But I had a couple friends, man, that their first instinct was to pick up whatever loose item was nearby. And I'm just going to hit this person with it.
To be fair, like if that was you or me, I'm sure most people,
yeah,
I would have picked up, because like, I don't know what this, at first, initially, because I don't know what he's going to do. I would probably hit him a few times. And then once I see he's just there,
you're looking to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And I get like maybe I don't know if this guy has something on him, like a knife or something like that.
Because the homeless dude did attack him. Yeah. He was going after him.
And you don't know what's going to come next. But at the same time.
But dude, that's the stuff.
If they're unarmed and you just pick something up, you're now armed.
That's the stuff I hate. Because even being like, a dude or whatever, like it's like it doesn't mean something's not going to happen. Clearly, yeah. So it's like because I've walked home the previous 2 nights. I was just thinking, it's like my hotel's like 3 blocks from the convention. I just walk home, and it's late, and there's a lot of homeless people in the streets. So I'm like. But like, what if you just take that one guy who's like, you got money, you say no, and that pisses them off, and then they start, attacking you or something like that.
Those are moments where a taser, like even in my mind, like those are the moments where like if you had a taser on you and they just,
I got another story. This last story about Comic-Con. It wasn't even this Comic-Con, but my buddy,
you hit somebody with a
no. So me and my friend Josh from Order 66 Toys here in Dallas, if you like Star Wars, hit it up. Dallas area, order 66 toys. But anyway, he went to Comic-Con, and we went to dinner Friday night or whatever, and it was around 7 o'clock. And we're walking. He's telling me a story because people, they hand out the CDs. He's like, hey, you want a CD? And
were they doing the tapping first?
Yes.
Where they tap it
and they make it seem like they're giving it to you. But once you take it, they're like, hey, any donations or blah 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 blah.
And then if you say no, they get mad.
Yes. So he told me a story that happened to him at San Diego Comic-Con a previous year where he wasn't privy to this. He had no idea. So he's like, oh, okay. And he's, a Florida turned Texas boy. He's like, okay, I'll give you like $5 for it. Sure. And he had money out and the guy took a 50 instead because he had cash out. He's like, no, 50 will work. And he had like several guys with him, the other dude, and he was by himself.
Oh, man. So speaking of picking up signs to hit somebody with.
Yeah. But like, I was like, what did you do? He's like, I mean, he had like 4 guys with him. He's like, I just had to let him take it because it's like, I wasn't, I got kids and a wife at home. I wasn't about to like.
Sure.
It's kind of true. It's like.
Yeah, it's smart.
I mean, some people would be a little more hot-headed, but he went the more rational route where like he didn't take a beating because most.
I mean, I gotta say, why would you take all your money out?
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I think
that's where
I think he had his wallet out and he just was like,
that's where you went awry. You never show anybody what you got, especially in that kind of.
But that's
scenario. Like what middle of the country, like smallville town did he come from?
That's so crappy though. Like it's kind of like no, he was actually Coral Springs, Florida, like me.
He grew up in a city and he just did that.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my god.
But like for real, it's like a lot of people would probably just instigate or start a fight, but a lot of people would also just be like, it's not worth it. Like it's $50 worth getting like into a big fight.
At that point, you don't want to. If you got a wife and kids, it's just not worth it.
That's what I'm saying.
But at the same time, just don't take your. Why would you pull your stuff, all your money out?
It's one of those things where like
in somebody's face when they're clearly being aggressive.
You don't know how you would act until you're because like maybe you might snap and be like, nah, not today, sucker.
Well, the second he went to reach for it, I'd be like, what are you freaking doing? You better back the freak up.
I don't know. But anyway, those are my Comic-Con stories.
Yeah.
And Comic-Con was good.
And the moral of that story is don't pull your wallet out in front of people who are trying to hustle you on the street.
Bro, they do that anywhere we go. Hollywood, New York.
Place.
I'm like, nah, I just ignore it. What you do is, for anyone who's going to Comic-Cons or doing stuff like that, or if you're in the city.
You don't make eye contact.
You don't make eye contact, AirPods.
Yeah.
You got AirPods, you pretend like you can't hear them even if you do.
I don't wear iPods. I just ignore them completely. I don't even care. The worst place for that, Las Vegas.
I've never been to Las Vegas, actually.
I thought you went with me.
No, I know. No? It's one of the few big cities I've never been to.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why in my head I thought we went one year. But anyway, the Vegas is they are the most aggressive there of any of the cities.
So obnoxious. And it's also, I said to him, I'm like, who has CD players? Like who?
That's not the point. It's literally just to rip people off.
I know, but let's say I actually wanted it. Where am I playing it?
Yeah, I mean, people have CD players.
I just got a brand new 2023 car.
No, they're taking them out of cars now.
Guess what it doesn't have? Yeah, I got a 2023 car. Guess what? No CD player.
Not everybody's driving a brand new 2022 or 2023 car. But, a lot of cars. Like I just traded in one of my vehicles for a new car. And the car that I had was a 2019 that had CD.
My 6-year-old doesn't know that you can listen to music on CDs.
No, this new generations, they're going to look at CDs like we look at 8-tracks.
No, she knows like what Blu-rays are.
Players.
Like, so she thinks CDs
Although record players are making a comeback.
They are. She thinks CDs are like Blu-rays because we do a Blu-ray. So she doesn't know like what a CD player is per se. So it's just kind of funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
Before we change topics, very quickly, what was the biggest thing at Comic-Con? What was like the big thing that everybody's talking about? The hottest thing? Because there's always something.
Three come to mind. The Invincible trailer.
Oh, yeah.
We got an Invincible trailer for Amazon Prime and a release date, which I believe is November 24th. I cannot wait for Invincible. Love that. They had that was in Hall H.
There's some big rumors coming out about that.
There's some big rumors coming about that. Potentially Spider-Man making an appearance because Robert Kirkman is the man, which would be really, really cool. What else? That was it. I said that was in Hall H? Yeah. So all those kind of panels, those bigger TV panels, like shows that we love and are big, but wouldn't necessarily be Hall H. We're Hall H this year because
they were making room.
Yeah. So Robert Kirkman had a panel there. What else?
You said 3. So Invincible is 1.
Invincible is 1. DC, Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla.
The artwork for that looks incredible.
So good. And an old friend of the show, Brian Bucciolato, is writing it. Right. Which we might have to get him back on for that.
Yeah, we haven't talked to Brian in
years,
minute, so it would be great to get him on for that because I am super interested to see what they do with it. That one piece of art. That one
Godzilla just
where
looking
Godzilla
at them.
is looking at Superman and Superman's flying in front of him.
Yes,
like what a freaking
because it's
awesome idea.
It's the MonsterVerse. It's Legendary Pictures MonsterVerse.
Yeah, we're gonna be covering that the first issue when it drops in October.
Skull crawlers are in it.
So good.
King Kong. So that looks really, really good. Plus, DC's like their crossovers are usually on point. Like with Power Rangers. Yeah, with Power Rangers, DC Power Rangers. What else? Predator, Batman Ninja Turtles, Predator. Like they have so many that are so good. So this is, I mean, that's just an awesome. I mean, the variant cover for Jim Lee's cover for this series is a Batman mech fighting Godzilla.
A massive, like
which is the most Batman thing ever.
What's the name of the Pacific Rim?
Oh yeah,
like a massive
Gypsy
Pacific
Danger.
Rim. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
a style mech, and it looks.
It's
crazy.
Justice League and Kaiju's, two of my favorite things. So I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't.
I'm on board for that one.
And then the last one. What is the? There was another. You made me forget, Tim. You made me forget.
Listen, I'm part of this.
It was Invincible. It was DC Justice League and Kong and Godzilla. Oh my gosh!
Don't blame your dementia on me.
What is it? What the freak is it? Oh my God. I lost it, guys.
Was it comic related?
It was comic related. It was another big.
Was it?
This is why I got to write things down.
This is why you got to write things down.
This is why I got to write things down. I don't know. To be continued.
All right. So we're going to say the two biggest things coming out.
Yeah, the two biggest things. I'll change it.
Okay. So when you came back, something else happened and your mind was a little bit blown.
Do I remember this?
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Is this the third thing you were going to tell me about?
That's correct.
Okay, what is it?
We found out aliens are real.
Oh, I was actually going to bring that up as a joke earlier. I was going to bring that up.
We found out, ladies and gentlemen, it's confirmed.
I mean,
before Congress.
Before freaking... This is the rabbit hole.
We found out an alien apparently has been captured by the U.S. government, or many of them.
Okay.
And Arris is
joking / not joking. It's a little, I'm actually unsettled. Because it's one of those things, I almost went on a rant. I was going to
Almost?
I was going to go on social media and make a rant because I'm like, people are not like, why?
Yeah, it was just like in 2020.
But like.
When they first started admitting, like, we don't know what these things are.
The dude,
they're real, and we don't know.
The dude straight up confirmed that, like, because she was like, well, if you got UFOs, have you found the pilots?
Right, because the congresswoman asked.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah. And she's all like, well, are they non-human biologics or pilots? And he's like, yeah, we found, like, it's almost a quote, non-human biologics, end quote.
Yeah, he's like, that's what I'm hearing.
He said,
so aliens are
alien. Yes.
So what we're saying is that James Cameron told us.
People,
Stanley Kubrick.
People were laughing.
Tried to tell us
about like
right
Men in Black.
No, I'm talking about Independence Day right now. But Will Smith tried to tell us.
No, Men in Black for years.
Men in Black tried to tell us.
I think I've joked on here before. I was like, is it really, really that much of like a stretch to think there's technology that could like erase the last hour or so of your memory? Like, is that really that crazy? No. Hear me out.
This is where it goes on. This is why I wanted to bring it up.
Hear me out.
This is why.
Hear me out.
Because this is where it gets deep.
If aliens are real.
This is getting real.
If aliens are, in fact, real.
Right.
And they're talking about it at freaking Congress. Yeah. Aliens.
Well, I mean, this is why nobody's surprised. Because we have Elon Musk.
Whatever. If aliens are real and you believe this and they're talking about it at Congress, which is crazy, then how is it crazy to think maybe there's something that could erase your memory for like the last few hours?
That's what you're really concerned about.
Dude,
you don't want anybody to erase your memory.
Dude, there's a guy like an MIT graduate who listen, no, this is real. There's an MIT graduate.
Don't wipe me, bro.
There's this MIT graduate who created a device that's basically linked to his head, like with monitors or some crap. Right. It registers his brain waves where he can Google with a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of this too, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
There's multiple people working on this. That's what the Neuralink project is.
He doesn't type anything in. He literally thinks of an equation or a Google search, and it gets transmitted. It goes into the internet, back on the internet, into his brain.
Yeah.
So if that's something we know that just MIT students are doing, what do you think the government is doing? Like, really? Come on, people. How is that crazy?
What is so remarkable is I feel like we're moving into a time where all the people that were called tinfoil hat wearing kooks for literally decades are going to be like, everybody's going to be going to them going, please, could you tell us what's going on? And those people are going to become the heroes. They're going to be like the Rambos of the next decade.
Bro.
As all of this stuff, it's like, turns out to be true. It's like,
Bro, I don't know.
It is very interesting. But it made me laugh because it really rattled your brain.
Because again, if like a month from now, whatever, the president comes out, our freaking 5-star general comes out and is like, we're not alone, that literally changes everything.
I mean,
everything,
yes and
no, everything.
But because, again, you have to present evidence. Just the government saying so. The government lies all the time. You ever seen that comedian?
Okay, if you choose to believe them.
Have you ever seen the comedian where he does that bit where he's like, I get not believing all conspiracies.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't believe any conspiracies. He's like, the government's in charge of everybody. And you're telling me they're batting 1,000? He's like, I got just one son. And I lie to that dude all the time.
If you believe them, or let's say they present footage eventually and they're like, yeah, we need to let this guy out of the bag for reasons. And it's confirmed.
Sure.
Then at that point, literally
you would
everything's
have to present rock solid evidence. Because
like,
right now, even the guy who said, yeah, we recovered this, that, and the other, even with all of his credentials and his classified,
I believe.
you have to believe what they're saying.
Yeah.
But my thing is, they have not earned that belief. You've got to show me. If anything, they have earned the opposite. They've earned distrust and disbelief from us, especially over the last few years.
But it's not.
They have lied. They have become such egregious liars that I don't believe anything. It's like, no, you got to show me that crap. You better prove it, or else I'm gonna think that this is just some other scam that's being peddled. So I'm all set. Like, it's interesting, but even the guy who's testifying to this stuff, it's all like secondhand stuff.
Yeah.
He's not even saying he's seen this stuff himself. Mm-hmm. He's saying it's people that have reported this stuff to him that are also highly credentialed, and that
where there's smoke, there's fire, Tim.
This
has been things for years. He's not the only one. This is just the first, kind of more official
Ancient Aliens called it, guys.
Ancient
Aliens.
And it also,
I've been watching. Ancient Aliens is one of my guilty pleasures. Arris knows this. I think I've even said it on the show. Ancient Aliens is one of my guilty pleasures. I freaking love that show. It's actually incredible. It's like a muse. It's like incredible fodder for writing ideas.
But this leads directly into, this is a perfect segue. I'm glad you brought this up for Secret Invasion.
That's why I wanted to do it first.
Because it's the same freaking thing. It's like, at this point, aliens probably have infiltrated the government, and maybe it would make a lot of sense for a lot of the people in power to be aliens. It's like that Men in Black Michael Jackson joke. It's that would make sense.
You would say that for years. If aliens or lizard people were real, who would they be? It's definitely this guy. Definitely Bill Gates is one. Maybe Michael Jackson.
Dude,
Tom Cruise. I don't know. I mean, the guy's 60 years old and he's jumping off buildings. It's questionable.
I think, though, Secret Invasion could be summed up with a womp womp.
Man, I'll tell you. Okay.
I don't have much to say about it because,
okay, but breaking it down, the first 2 to 3 episodes, we both said, it's good.
Yeah.
The first 2 to 3 episodes, it was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't ultra compelling that you had to see it on the day.
Right.
But it was good. It was well shot. The performances were pretty good, especially by the guy, I can't remember his name, who plays Gravik. Mm-hmm. I thought he was great. And then the last 3 episodes happened. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And the last 2 were so bad. And the finale was a train
It's the lowest ranked MCU project ever. Last I checked was at a 13%.
Dude, a train wreck. And the stuff that they introduced, it was for me, it was full on what you do in Marvel.
The Super Scrolls.
They ruined the Super Scrolls, but they lined all this other stuff up. They did all these things where it's like, what you doing, Marvel?
Well,
Why are you making an even bigger mess than you've already got?
they ruined the good things they did in the past and set up things no one's going to really care about in the future. Like the whole James Rhodey thing, that's my biggest thing, where like him spoilers, guys, obviously, them revealing that he's a Skrull and that he's been a Skrull since Civil War, because the creators or heads of the show confirmed that even after the fact, even though it was kind of alluded in the show.
But you didn't know that until the directors confirmed it. That was the other part of the thing. I was like ranting, it's so stupid.
But either way, it ruined
his whole... You're going to do that and you're not going to be explicit about that, about how that happened, nothing?
It ruined his whole arc, because that means everything in Endgame, the Falcon Winter Soldier...
Infinity War?
Infinity War, everything we saw of him was a Skrull.
Insane.
Civil War on Skrull. So it's like,
insane.
He had a really cool arc. And now it's like, it's going to pick up with the Marvels and Armor Wars, which is going to deal with like, I've been gone, a Skrull's been impersonating me, and that's why we're going to I don't know, because the Russo brothers and Marvel never intended that. This was retroactive. No. They went back and be like, what if? And it's like, they could have done so many cool things and like reveals with people being Skrulls and stuff, and the only cool reveal they had was, it's not even cool, but big reveal I'll say, is Rhodey being a Skrull. Like,
I just don't even think, it did not even feel like they really gave it much thought. They were just like, well, we need some shocking character to be a Skrull, and this is the only one that we really have in the show. So let's just make it him.
I'm going to keep saying it. The thing I could say without like, because I don't want to, I didn't really enjoy it, but I feel bad like tearing it apart. But I will say is Marvel's just like, they lost that spark, man. They don't have it anymore. It's just, I think they don't have that it factor, because even the first 3 episodes, I said it to you, I said it to other people. I'm like, I like it, but it's just like, yeah. Like, I'm not running to watch it. There's nothing that pulls me in, like, yeah, this is great. Guardians of the Galaxy was like Volume 3.
That was good.
That's the only thing in recent
But it felt so
years.
Disconnected.
It did. Like, all the recent shows for Marvel, I don't know, even most of the films, they've been more misses, I think, than hits. Because even
That's what I've been saying.
Because even like the ones that are good, like Moon Knight, good. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I'm just like, yeah, it wasn't awesome. No. For me personally, I'm sure other people think that. There just hasn't been, they've basically been going down since Endgame overall.
Yes.
They've lost their footing. I think that is clear. The box office is clearly showing it.
Yeah.
Because we were like, it's just because, it's like, yeah, meanwhile, like Barbie's like made like $700 million.
How much has that made at this point?
Around $700 million.
What?
Yeah, worldwide. Yeah, Barbie's killing it right now.
No way.
Yeah, I just looked it up like 2 hours ago.
It's only had one weekend.
Exactly. It's going to be a $1 billion movie. And the director's going to be the first female director to have a $1 billion movie.
Shut it.
Right so, like, these excuses I feel like don't really work that much anymore, because when you have Mario hitting $1 billion, you have Spider-Verse close to or hitting $1 billion, you got Barbie on its way to hit $1 billion, you got, like, Oppenheimer going to probably end around 600 to 700 million. Like, what's the common denominator? The storytelling. Like, people will go see it if they're intrigued in the story and the characters. So tell good stories, people will see it. I'm tired of like, there's just superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
It's maybe a little bit of it, but if it's good, people are going to watch it.
That's what we talked about that last week. And it was, I think there's multiple reasons for it, but definitely Secret Invasion was an excellent example of what is wrong, particularly with Marvel. We'll keep that limited to just Marvel. It's an excellent example of the trouble that Marvel is in, because it felt kind of thoughtless. You took this huge, very important story to the Marvel mythos, and you kind of dwindled it down to this very short, impossible to tell this story in a 6-episode series, and you just stripped it down to bare bones. You took characters that you already had kind of started off on a wrong foot with, and talking about the Skrulls, and then you tried to in some way invert it, but then fell way, way short. Then you took this very cool concept of the Super Skrull and you used it to kill off who is one of the most fan favorite Skrull, just without any fanfare, with just completely in an unclimactic way, to make his daughter, that nobody really even knows this character or cares about,
Gaia.
Not just
she's the mother of dragons, Tim.
Not just a Super Skrull, but they gave her what they called in the series the Harvest, the powers of every known super character in the entire MCU, making her the most powerful being in the MCU out of nowhere, above Captain Marvel. It's like, you just created that problem. Is this just going to be another character that you did this and then it just kind of vanishes, like introducing Scar and She-Hulk, you know what I mean? Or Star Fox in the what's the name of the movie?
Eternals?
The Eternals. Stuff like that, where it's like you introduce, and we just don't even know, are we ever going to see this character again? No idea.
Yeah, in Secret Wars.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's just they just
Marvel
keep creating more and more of a mess. Now they've introduced this whole storyline with Rhodey that is going to now bleed into Armor Wars.
That's
and how is that going to go?
They're telling stories and setting up things I don't think people really care about.
But also that don't make sense. They do not have a coherent through line. And you're breaking open all this multiverse stuff while also trying to go cosmic at the same time.
I think they messed up with the too many Disney shows in the sense that like it was just too much to keep coherent. And because Marvel Studios, obviously I don't work for them, but they've been very vocal where they like to let their directors and creatives like kind of do their own thing as long as it doesn't stray too far. But in doing that, you create all like these broken timelines, if you will, where it's like, yeah, it's in the same verse, but like it's too much of a different feel here and there. And this, even though that technically lines up, it just feels weird and a little disconnected. They just did too much all at once, I feel like. Disney Plus is kind of like the worst thing that happened to the MCU. Or maybe just the worst thing that happened to the MCU.
It's kind of, I have to say, because my prediction, and I've said this many times, if you're a longtime listener of the podcast, my prediction for the MCU after Phase 3, at the end of Phase 3, was that Marvel was this was going to be the beginning of a step down for Marvel, and DC was going to have the opportunity to take a bigger footprint in that space. DC has yet to capitalize on that. But even with me thinking that was what was going to happen with Marvel, it's still shocking how much they are just seemingly shooting themselves in the foot, because it's such a departure from the clearly thoughtful way that they approach storytelling in the first 3 phases, the first 10 years. And now it just feels like this very scattered. You have a couple of highlights, like No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and a couple of things. Loki was a very good series. I think Moon Knight was a serviceable series. There's a couple of other things. But in terms of like things that you would go like, that was great. No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy, I would put Loki in that category, the series. And am I forgetting something?
I like Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was good. I don't know that I would call that great.
I would still personally put it in there because I like that.
Okay,
a lot
we can
more
throw
than
that
the
in the list because I think that's fair. That was definitely an entertaining movie. But everything else either goes in the okay, meh, or that was terrible category. And that is and I think more so than just even the quality, it's the incoherence of it all. It's it feels like they're just throwing crap against the wall.
At DC, James Gunn is planning
in his secret laboratory deep below the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, I don't even.
Yeah, it's tough. I really, at this point now, we are actually, because we were filming some episodes just before this, and I was saying, I feel like they need to just call it. They need to just learn from freaking Warner Brothers and DC, man. And just realize when you've stepped out over your skis and you just go, hey, this is kind of a mess. Before we go too much farther down this road, let's just retcon some stuff.
I'm gonna throw something out there. I've been thinking of this for a while. I think they should reboot.
At this point, I don't think that would be. I think the fans would actually embrace that. I think
Marvel should reboot. You have because they put themselves in a position now where like they can't use their legacy characters anymore because all the guys who played them have already played them for a decade. And now at this point, everyone wants the OG Captain America, the OG Iron Man, and all that stuff. Like it's kind of like with Marvel now, when you got a different Captain America, you got a different Iron Man, you got all this like cool, and some of them are written good and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, people always want the legacy characters. They want the original version of that character.
I think that you can still move forward with some of the characters they have. The trouble is, you lost Black Panther. He was going to be, him and Spider-Man would have been the 2 coolest characters remaining, I think.
But you still...
So you lost Black Panther, even though they have Shuri taking the reins as Black Panther, but it's not T'Challa. And everybody knows that.
The same thing goes, I think, for Captain America. Like, Captain America, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. were like the pillars, and the way they played those characters was so good that people like Anthony Mackie and whoever becomes like Ironheart and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's like, that's big shoes to freaking fill.
Yeah.
You're talking about when people say like Robert Downey Jr. is potentially like the greatest casting for a superhero character ever. And you expect someone to come in and like live up to that, like that, no matter who's playing the character, that's hard.
That's why I'm careful when I say reboot, because if you try and recast Captain America, you try and recast Iron Man, you try and recast even Thor, I would say, even after the debacle that was Love and Thunder.
You can cast redone Thor. I'm sorry, Chris Hemsworth. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. You hurt me too much.
The hurt is too deep.
Freaking.
Thor Love and Thunder, I want to put that out of my mind. But when used properly, Chris Hemsworth is just an incredible Thor. So I would agree he's probably he's a small notch down, but it's very similar to Black Panther. It's like, should you recast Black Panther? I'm kind of like, yeah, you probably should. Yeah. I can see the arguments on both sides for sure. Yeah. And there's part of me that goes both ways as far as like, I just can see like,
oh, Wakanda Forever. We forgot about that. Did you say Wakanda Forever earlier?
What, that it was good?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Because Wakanda Forever.
Oh, I love Wakanda Forever was solid.
It was good, but in hindsight and having watched it a second time, it has some problems.
I don't know. I would. So for me, I might have put that in top.
But I wouldn't put it as great.
It's definitely one of the better things of Phase 4.
The first time I watched it, I was definitely like my opinions were very much driven by the emotion of it all. And after I took a step back, I think I even said it at the time. After I took a step back and like let that settle, and then rewatched it, and just because they did all the T'Challa stuff and the memorializing of him in the movie extraordinarily well. But all the other pieces that they added, I did like Namor, but a lot of the other pieces that they added were just kind of okay, and it had problems. So I would put that into the good category, not great.
Yeah, I think everyone, if the internet is any indication, I think most people will agree The Secret Invasion was not the best. I haven't heard a good thing about it.
I honestly can tell you, I have not seen any MCU property get ripped like this show is universally. And I'm talking about by the press.
Yeah, the critics are even like, nah.
Critics, fans, everyone is shredding this show. And, I kind of feel a little bad because I'm a creator myself. I don't like it to see creators
doing it to themselves.
But they are. And I think I say a little bit because I think a big part of the problem, I keep pounding this table on this, a big part of the problem is there's just too many people involved in these properties, whether you're talking about DC at Warner Brothers or Marvel with Disney. There's too many chefs in the kitchen who don't really care about these properties. They don't really care about these stories and the characters the way that, say, a Kevin Feige does.
Yeah.
Or at least that he's demonstrated in the past. And he's heading it up, but you're kind of like, what's going on, Kev?
Yeah.
Is he really in control? Because this feels so different than what he did with the first 10 years. So I don't know if it's just too much pressure on him or if it's just got too big, too much money.
Iger is pulling back either way. So so Feige's boss is like, yeah, no.
Dude, and that's all the more reason why this is the opportunity for them to, again, learn from the mistakes of DC at Warner Brothers, and where Iger can use the excuse of like, hey, we did quantity over quality. We, budgetary things, we got to pull back and use that as the opportunity to kind of retcon some stuff, clean some stuff up, and
bring
reset.
Deadpool in and clean up the timelines.
There you go. You could absolutely freaking do something like that. And in a funny way that the fans would accept.
I think I said it to someone at San Diego Comic-Con. Deadpool is going to be the most loved MCU movie since the Infinity Endgame era. I'm calling it now. It's going to be the most loved and well-received.
It's going to be tough for that not to happen just because of Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine.
No, it's going to... and I use the word loved because I don't want to say best, but it's...
Are you including No Way Home?
Oh, yeah. I think it has potential to be get just as much love or even more. Because the things they're doing with it is just... Ryan Reynolds is just the most likable guy in the world. And then freaking you have Hugh Jackman Wolverine in his classic Wolverine costume that his fans have been wanting forever. Mm-hmm. And then you see things like BTS of like them destroying the Fox universe and all the rumors and all the cameos of like freaking Jessica Alba as Invisible Woman,
right.
Freaking Channing Tatum as Gambit. Like if all that stuff happens.
Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
Yeah, if all that stuff happens, for sure. Because then it is like Far From Home or No Way Home. And
it's true.
I mean, yeah.
It's true.
It's just, and then that leads him into fully being into the MCU and Secret Wars and all that stuff. For me, I haven't even seen a trailer or a poster really yet, but I feel like this is going to be the most well-received MCU thing since, I'll say, the Russo brother era.
When it comes out, it makes its way to theaters in 2029. Because, this actors-writer strike combo, it's getting real.
It is getting real.
It's getting real. I just said today here at the studio, because we're an entire production company, as we've told you guys before. So I was talking to the guys, and I was saying, like, we should start a pool. Like, when is this going to end? Because the only people making content is going to be us at some point.
I don't know. I just joined a union.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. When do you go on strike?
I don't know. They're paying me under the table.
Oh.
It's a good gig.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means I don't have to pay you. That's great.
Black market, all that stuff. It's great.
We're a non-union shop, so this works out really nicely.
It's good.
But no, I'm serious. Like this may bleed if the current trajectory and tone stays. This could go into next year. At which point, because we just found out today that Craven has been pushed to fall of 2024,
August.
end of summer of 2024.
August, literally a year almost.
Yeah. So Craven, which
Beyond the Spider-Verse is delayed indefinitely. There's no release date, just delayed.
which is a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Especially
everything Marvel's is rumored to be delayed. You can't promote the properties.
No.
Dune is probably going to get delayed.
I did read something about Dune, and there are particularly people at IMAX and things like that. They're saying Dune will not be delayed. It cannot be. And they're arguing that Dune will be one of the ones that if they can't promote it, they can't promote it, but it will not get delayed.
We'll see.
I mean, I'd be curious.
Money talks.
Dude, I'm going to be so curious to see what happens with these properties, because at the same time, the studios are like, well, we got to put something out. Aquaman. What's going to happen with Aquaman?
I don't know how to play chess. I'm going to learn to play chess.
All right. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be heading up a studio soon?
No, I'm just saying with no new content, I'm going to, comic books will still be coming out.
Hey.
I'll just,
chess is a great game.
Chess is a great game. Comic books.
I could teach you. I love chess.
Comic books is my main love anyway, so just more titles for me to read.
Yeah, comic book chess.
Ooh.
Get the Batman set. You know what I mean? From the
now,
Noble collection.
Now you're talking.
Have you seen that thing?
Now you're
It's
talking.
beautiful. I got the Lord of the Rings one. It's glorious.
Anyway, point is
Secret Wars.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Wars.
Secret Invasion was not the best.
No.
And everyone agrees.
No.
I'm sure there's like a small percentage that like it.
Is it me, or when Gaia turned into the Super Skrull and they reveal her and she does that arm? Mm-hmm. Did it look like a gimpy arm to you?
The CGI was a little bit
they
wonky.
gave her an Oompa Loompa arm?
I didn't notice that, but I did notice the CGI was a little but that's kind of like everything these days.
Yeah. It hadn't really been that bad up to that point, but that whole end fight scene, it didn't even make sense. You gave both characters, Gaia and Gravik, the exact same insane otherworldly universal
I don't want to
powers.
talk about the Super Skrulls, Tim. They ruined it.
And she just destroys him. Like, he has the same power set as you.
Instead of using them.
And she literally just blasts a hole in his chest twice.
They
kills him.
totally could have used it to introduce Fantastic Four, which they've been teasing forever. So it's like, at this point, it's like, what are you going to do to introduce them? Like, are you going to do Doom? Probably not. Are you going to do the Super Skrulls?
Yes.
Obviously not.
That's another big takeaway. Is all of the stupid hints at X-Men, and we still are like, there is no clear line here.
I'm dead inside.
Yeah,
James Gunn, do something.
A hot minute.
Do something, James.
About what all the problems that Secret Invasion introduced into the equation.
And that says something, because DC definitely doesn't have their things going. But the only light is the fact that they're quote unquote rebooting. So maybe Superman Legacy going forward will work.
Bro, I don't know. We're going to find out soon. Not soon. That's the craziest thing. Dude, we're not even going to find out any of this stuff for freaking years, because even once they come back, it's going to be years.
But you know what?
This is going to be such a weird... This is going to be significantly worse by the time it's all done than the COVID lockdowns.
You know what?
What?
They'll still have Variant the Podcast. You'll still have Variant the Podcast.
You're dang right.
Because there's lots of other stuff to talk about.
That's right. We're going to make our own Marvel films.
I'll do it.
Let's do it.
You do Marvel, I'll do DC.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
It'll be the competition of the ages.
We'll do the amalgamverse.
The rivalry.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess that brings today's podcast to a close.
It does. And in conclusion, what we've discovered is San Diego Comic-Con was fun without Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Aliens
are real.
And they made Secret Invasion.
There you go. AI made the intro, which maybe came from aliens.
Telling you, that's a shot across the bow from these studios. The AI opening for that show. I saw that. I was like, that's where it's headed.
We're all doomed.
Arris. The alien thing really messed up. Y'all, seriously.
It's unsettling.
The alien thing really messed Arris up. He doesn't know
Did you ever think like the aliens would be talked about in front of Congress?
Dude, I watch Ancient Aliens. Of course I did.
We'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.